I'm Nyesha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Welcome to Conversatio, the show that introduces those topics that help you conduct yourself better and also help you be a better citizen. Today's show is Crime Counsel for the City. Hi, I'm your host, Prince Lee. Our special guest today is Councilmen Calixto Torres and also ex-Assistant Deputy Chief of Police Gerald Pleasant. These two gentlemen are going to help Hartford solve its crime issues, or give them at least the advice that would enable them to. The crime in the city, and not only the city, and a lot of others, has just gone crazy. And I'm wondering about what kinds of things would you suggest to the current police force that they do to help stem this tide of crime? That question to you first.
Okay. Well, first of all, we have been here before. In the past, we have been at this particular stage in city government where crime has really gotten out of hand. It's not impossible. We're smart enough, astute enough, and we have basically enough funds to address the problem. But having said that, how do we go about addressing the problem? Well, managerially speaking, it plays an important role. You need to understand what the problem is. You can't address a problem if you really don't know what the problem is. I would like to show you something. On a weekly basis, the City of Hartford puts out what's called a ComStat report. This is a crime report of everything that has happened in the city for the last week. And it covers several areas. Murder, part one crime, which consists of murder, rape, robbery, aggravated assault, burglary, larceny, auto theft. This is part one. But there are several, there's other areas which constitute part two, nuisance crimes, which are also very important.
So now, I see that there's a detailing of many, many crimes. Who analyzes, who's responsible for that analyzing? It's also, before you answer that, also, is that analyzing the crime, is that also done on the council level where they can see, so they can put their little 2 cents in toward the police commissioner?
I cannot speak for the mindset of the council, but from my personal opinion, I think that they do not pay enough attention. The council has a public safety sector.
Or the committee?
A committee.
Okay.
Okay.
But they would be analyzing.
Well, they should. How well they do it, I don't know. I think I personally believe they fall short in analyzing and also understanding what they're looking at. Now, this is broken down by neighborhood, also broken down by sector. The city is divided into northeast, northwest, center city, southwest, southeast on a weekly basis. And in so doing, it gives you a very clear understanding of what's going on, where it's going on, time of day it's going on, and you should be able to deploy the necessary manpower and crime
So the information is there to help you manage it properly. And
Yes.
getting to Councilman, you were also the president of the city council, okay? Would you have been in a position to so instruct this public safety committee to be more diligent in their review of this report?
Well, I was also chairman of public safety on the city council. I have a long experience working with the Hartford Police Department. When I worked in the city of Hartford under the city manager, I was assistant to the city manager under Wilson Gator.
Right.
So I go back a long time working with the police department. But, again, under the present form of government, you got to remember that the city council does not micromanage the departments. The city council has committees, and in this particular case, the public safety committee does meet and work with the issues that arise out of the police department. It does not direct the department to change its operations. And that's the mayor's role. That's the mayor and the police chief. What the city council does.
If the mayor and the police chief aren't on top of those practices that would change those trends, you knowing of those trends, do you not have a responsibility as a citizen to say,
you can
do something about that
you
trend?
can bring it up. You can bring it up to the mayor. I mean, you can meet with the mayor, and you can express those concerns, and you can ask for changes or something to be done. But you cannot direct. You cannot direct the mayor, and you cannot direct the police chief or any department head.
Oh.
That is not allowed under our present form of government. However, what the committee does is over the years, for instance, issues that arise that the police department has needed to address, then come before the committee, and the committee then, what we've done is on a number of occasions, created ordinances, for instance, that would help have the police department do a better job in what it's doing.
Creation of what type of ordinances?
For instance, the noise ordinance was one.
Right.
Okay, and another one was the convenience store ordinance. Another one was the pocket bike and the ATV ordinance throughout the city. We have those laws in place. The issue is not the law. The issue is how do you manage a police department to make sure that the enforcement takes place
Of these ordinances that was helped
exactly.
create.
And that now you have an issue of what, as Jerry raised before, is how do you manage your resources? Are your resources being managed efficiently so you get the most bang for your buck? Quite frankly, I think we've gotten away from the idea of real engagement with our community,
Right.
especially through the community policing efforts that we started a long time ago. As we get away from interacting on a regular basis, on a human basis, with our community, we alienate our community. So that, if a police officer doesn't know who lives in the neighborhood, if the police officer doesn't know who the good person is and who the not good person is, then they're completely isolated, and the trust is no longer there.
Well, when I say Citizen Pleasant and Citizen Torres, would you have any problem trying to gain audience with the mayor or the chief of police to at least talk to him? Not saying that you can influence, but to talk to
Very
him.
good question you proposed, because I had requested from both. I have been promised, but I have yet to receive.
Well,
But-
hopefully
but
they will.
Meanwhile, the problem just dances along.
Yes. Well, it's getting to be
Well,
quite
let
a
me give
problem.
you let me give you a case in point, and it hits home, in your backyard. You have a granddaughter that on August 15th was assaulted by a female gang member, cut in the face,
Yes.
received treatment at St. Francis Hospital, called the police. You have an arrest warrant has yet to be issued. This is not a question of you not knowing who the perpetrator is. The perpetrator is known. Every day your granddaughter sees this person out there, what type of feeling do you think goes through her? Feeling of fright? And what about her mother, her loved ones?
I just, in addition to it being a personal, tragedy, I just think about how many things go unreported. That's
Right.
it's unbelievable what that percentage might be, not only in Hartford,
It's,
but
it's the apathy, Prince, and the other day I ran into Brother Carl Hodrick. Carl and I go
Yeah.
back a long time, many years. This is, and we
That was
were
on
talking
Canterbury Street, right?
Yeah, we were talking
Yeah.
about this, the situation that he was in, where he was assaulted by these young people. An individual who has worked many years for peace in our neighborhoods,
Right.
and the lack of any kind of sensitivity, in our streets, especially by many young people against the citizens of the city.
Right.
But I think we have created an environment where people out there feel that it's a free for all on our city streets. Our traffic laws are not enforced as they should be.
Noise.
Quality of life issues are a major concern, and when you don't take care of the little things, then people feel that you're not going to take care of the big things. And so we've come into a mode of operation where our officers, where the only time that we are dealing with crime is after the fact almost.
Right.
And they're responding to these things because somebody in dispatch is calling them and saying, go to such and such a place, and
well,
and
the
take care of this.
problem with responding after the crime, couldn't that be solved to some degree with stop and frisk? Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yes.
To institute something like that in the area?
I think we don't. I think we can approach it differently. I would like to say go back again to the days of the beat cop. If I know who that person is in my neighborhood, if that person gets out of the car and that person walks the neighborhood and that person says hello to my neighbor when he's cutting his grass, or says hello to the kids in the corner, and gets to know them and stops and spends a few minutes. If you do enough of that, you get out there and you start creating that relationship, you prevent crime. We don't want to be going after crime after the fact.
Right.
We need to know ahead of time who's planning to do what, who may have committed a crime that we haven't solved, and our own neighborhoods will tell us.
So short of adopting, aimed at you, Jerry, so short of adopting the stop and frisk, do you think that through these ordinances that you could do something, develop a policy that would kind of like mirror the stop and frisk? Because I know stop and frisk has this problem, but couldn't you get creative through ordinances mirror something like that?
But you can. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
just
Jerry.
before, because
Okay.
Jerry, because we have, in order to, we don't want to oppress our neighborhood people either.
Right.
What you want to have is make sure that you have probable cause, then you have a legal right
Right.
to do what you're saying.
Uh-huh.
One of the areas that we need to enforce is our traffic. We have enough probable cause out there to stop a lot of this stuff from even happening in the first place, because these delinquents, for the most part, the people that are committing these crimes, they're not walking or riding horseback in the city. They're riding in cars.
Right.
It may
They've
not
got
be
guns.
their own.
Yeah, they've got guns, they've got drugs, they've got warrants. The cars, as Jerry had just explained, but may have been stolen, misuse of plates. The list goes on and on. And
Okay.
we don't do that.
You seem so comfortable with the parameters of this.
Yes.
Shouldn't our police chief be equally as comfortable so he could come up with some strategy? You talk about deployment.
He may not have the same ideas of enforcement that we share.
Or
Let
the
me
general
tell you-
schools have thought on
Well,
enforcement?
let me tell you one of the things that I did, and my son was a lieutenant on the force. one of the things that I told him and others, that if you have a high crime area in your area, take a look at the officer assigned to the area. Take a look at what have you done to address this problem? And if you pull the records, and this party has not written out an arrest record or traffic noise enforcement or something, then you need to call that person in and have a talk to him. If it persists, you need to change him or her. Get somebody else.
One of the areas that I think has been lacking for many years, and I've made over and over again, through the budget, trying to get good supervision on the streets. If you don't have good supervision on the streets, the job ain't going to get done.
Yeah.
Where the rubber meets the road, is your supervision. If you don't have well-trained sergeants out there supervising what's going on and making sure, that these officers are using their time wisely, and and you're using your resources, have a problem with the quality of for the most part, of our police officers. We have well-trained police officers. We have well-equipped police officers. We don't
It's
lack.
just managing them, it's placing them
Right.
out.
So how do we manage our resources, and how do we train our supervisors?
Well, citizens, it seems like we're just getting started, and hopefully we're just getting started in solutions. But thank you for your input, and our listeners and Hartford residents also thank you for your concern and your input. Thank both of you gentlemen very much.
Absolutely.